Hey, what's going on, folks? What's happening? Hope everybody's having a good week. We're winding down, uh, almost halfway through. Tomorrow's hump day. Yay. So excited for that. I'm trying to get everything out. So hopefully, I'll be finishing up fulfillment and starting shipping everything by Friday. Everything will be out the door. It's been a madhouse around here since the accident. So I'm trying to wear too many hats, but you know how they go. So I apologize. I was finishing sharing out. So real quick, we're gonna run through the list of sponsors, and then we're gonna bring out the show tonight. Uh, he's gonna kill me probably for saying this, but I was just laughing so hard. I'm like, James Tiberius Molloy, captain of the USS Spectre. Yeah, I know. I see you smiling back there. He's going to murder me when he comes out. But anyway, without further ado, we're going to get to the sponsors real quick. So, our brand new sponsor, Hazzum Productions. Check out Hazzum Productions for Rotokill Rampage, Peanut Pudding and Jelly, and Pitter Patter, which is live now on Kickstarter. Check out Pitter Patter 2. Link is in the description. You can also check out Hazzum.com, which is also in the description above. We have Melone Management with Lisa Melone. Do you have any type of crowdfunding campaign, whether it's Indiegogo, Kickstarter, or you're just trying to share your book out to the world, hit up Lisa Malone. She can take care of you. Do you need someone to look up stretch goals? You need someone to help share your content while you keep cranking away at that project? Then hit up Lisa Malone. She'll hook you up with a free 1 hour consultation and let you know what the wide range of services that she offers. We have 183 Degree Studios with Alfred Trujillo, Doobie Doobie Doo, and Miss AZ Power Girl Kara Nicole. Check out their Patreons with the links in the description, as well as 183degreestudio.com, where you can pick up all kinds of cool OG art. And their projects Fire Bitch 2, which blew up Kickstarter here, as well as 52 card pinup. Hopefully you didn't miss out on that. We also have Codex Entertainment LLC with with Luis Torres and Lily the Demoness Chapter 5, which was just live on Kickstarter. Hey, Big Bill, welcome back. Glad to see you again. Thanks for joining. Check out Lily the Demoness Chapter 5, which is live on Kickstarter for just a little bit longer. New releases every Friday, so check that out, as well as his other projects, Whispers in Necropolis, Ace and Starlet, and Nebula Pearl. We have Outpost 426 Studios with CB Zane and Michael Shoemaker. Check out their awesome projects, The Mighty Might, which just funded on Kickstarter, as well as Scorpiana and Into the Suck. Black Rabbit will be dropping later on this year, as well as the next installment of Scorpiana, so look out for that. We also have DPopp Customz, which is our final sponsor of the night. DPopp Customz will hook you up with an awesome frame for your print. Do you want to light it up? Do you want the lights to glow to music? Do you want to bounce around? Hit up DPopp Customz. He can take that print that's just collecting dust in the closet, jazz it up, and you'll be proud to display it on your wall. So without further ado, we're going to bring out JT Molloy. What's going on? What's up? Dude, I was cracking up earlier. I was like, he's going to kill me. But I'm like, I can just see it now. James Tiberius Molloy.
Dude, I've been saying that for like 20 years now. Like, I always tell people, like, oh, I wish I could change my middle name to Tiberius. And I know I technically could, but the only reason I wouldn't is because I respect my grandfather, because I was named after both grandfathers. It was James Thomas, And so I just can't do that. You know what I mean? Because, like, I don't know. Otherwise, I would, because I'm a Star Trek guy, so.
Oh man, me too. And so I was like, that would be so great. Like have like the Sapphire Spectre like peeking out and like have like a starship and then have like USS Sapphire Spectre on the side.
Right.
That would be great. But by JT Molloy, people will be like, it's Tiberius. So how you doing tonight, buddy?
Not too bad. I'm not too bad. How about yourself?
Not too bad either. I'm just dealing with the aftermath of the accident. So
right, we talked backstage about that a bit, and
yeah,
like I said, it could be worse, but that sucks, man. Hope everything's okay.
Oh, it can always be worse. But I'm excited to have you on. I've seen you a few times on some live shows, talking about Sapphire Spectre and some of the projects that you work on and showing off your art and stuff. But I want to get behind the creator. That's what we always do on the show here. And I want to hear, kind of your backstory, like where did you come from and stuff like that. So I kind of want to start out, how did you get into comics? Like what was your entrance into the comic book world?
It was kind of in like comic book fandom, I guess, it was kind of a gradual process. Because when I was a kid, I think like my first major thing was like I loved like Peanuts or whatever, but like Calvin and Hobbes is what like blew my mind as like a fourth grader, And so like I loved Calvin and Hobbes, and now I get to read it to my niece, which is really cool. She loves it too. And I gave her like Weirdos from Another Planet and some of the other books I had laying around. And so Calvin and Hobbes was definitely the big thing. And then like I had some Batman growing up too, you know, because it's like I loved the 60s show growing up as a little kid. I was born in 81, so I was already like 8 years old by the time I remember seeing Batman 89 in the theater for the first time. And I had already loved Batman because of the reruns of the Adam West show my dad would show me. So like I already had a couple of Batman comics. Like Nightwing was already like, that blew my mind too. That was like, whoa, Robin grew up. Like these comic books are crazy. You know what I mean? And like, but I didn't really like become a comic geek until I started watching X-Men in the 90s, the 90s cartoon with my cousin Kevin, and he and I just kind of blind faith bought our first Marvel comic at the same time. We both got X-Men 328, drawn by Joe Maduria, or Maduria, however you say his name. And I've always read his name. I've never said it. Like, people don't say it out loud. They just read it. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things. I don't know. So
and
Joe,
you could ask
Joe
12
Mad,
people, and they'll
I know,
all
right?
pronounce it differently, right?
So Joe Mad and Scott Lobdell, and that was with Psylocke being mauled by Sabretooth, you know? And I was like, whoa, like comics can be dark. Like there was blood in this and everything. Like you don't get this from the cartoon. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So like right away we were like, F this X-Men cartoon nonsense. Like this is where it's at. So like immediately followed up by Spider-Man. And I wasn't a Spider-Man fan as a kid because I didn't get it yet. You know, like all that was available to me was the 60s cartoon. And whenever I saw that, I was like, what is this crap? But like I saw Spider-Man teaming up with X-Men and just being active in the Marvel universe at the time. And then I finally gave his book a shot and I'm like, this is my guy. And so like from 14 onward, Spider-Man was my guy. So like he is my number one favorite superhero. I'm like, he's a smart ass like me and a nerd and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like this is my dude. So I don't know. I've been like that became my comic geekdom moment, was like 14 onward, was getting into the Marvel stuff that was available in the mid 90s.
Maggie says, radioactive Spider-Man, look out, here comes the Spider-Man. And there he is, the man of the hour. JT Molloy, why are you doing the Missouri Cable Access show?
Steph, are you going to come in here or what?
Yeah, come on, Steph, bring it on. We're going to put you in the middle, smack dab in the middle. We're going to PB&J you.
Maggie Snap, if you see her, she's hilarious, by the way. That's my sister. And
is it?
Yeah. So I actually drew here. Let me show this real quick. I drew, that's my sister and her my goddaughter Marcy in there, because like I'm drawing this one-page story for the Sapphire Spectre issue 2 Kickstarter. I always like to do, like, once we get in the upper tiers of stretch goals, I like to do a one-page story. So I still have to color it and letter it and all that stuff. But she's just outright denying it. But yeah, no, like I asked her today, I'm like, hey, can I draw you in this panel? It's supposed to be showing like negative energy in this one and positive energy in this one. So I was like, oh, I'll draw the kiddo and the sister in there. So that was fun. But sorry, that was an aside. Yeah, what were we saying?
Steph said, hi, Maggie. Sorry about JT.
Steph.
Man. What are we going to do with you, Steph? I think we're going to have to bring out one of your Valentine's Day cards. I mean, these were super hot back in February. I mean, you sure know how to wear that fox fur.
He showed me a couple of those. Has he seen some of these, or have you?
Oh yeah, he's seen all of them.
Recent. Oh, okay, gotcha.
Oh yeah, we razz each other all the time.
At the ready.
Yeah, at the ready all the time.
Razz each other. So what, is Steph some kind of ball buster? I've never known this ever.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, this guy just comes out of nowhere, just starts swinging with the right hooks, like.
He's always making that drawing looks busy. He's always making fun of me and never leaving him. Look, I left white in there, dog. There's plenty of, yeah, there's a city, but look, there's plenty of blank too.
Yeah.
I let this shit breathe. No, that's where the captions are going. So
Stephanie said, I thought that drawing had amazing background.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Yeah, I mean, Steph, he's never been one for backgrounds. He leaves that for the colorist,
He's always telling me, like, don't you leave any page at all?
So what made you get into art? So we kind of heard, your entrance in the comic books. The cartoon was awesome, but it just wasn't, ultra violence or violent like the comic books were. So that kind of swung you into the comic book world.
Mhm.
When did you start drawing?
I've been drawing since I was like in kindergarten or something. My mom tells me a story that I don't remember, where like I was like in t-ball or baseball as a kid or whatever, and like would be sitting there like drawing dinosaurs in the second base area, in the dirt, while like balls were whizzing past me or whatever. And it's just like, she's like, all right, this is what we're dealing with, huh? So to her credit, she's always been very supportive and gave me would sign me up for art classes and stuff like that. So that's cool. But so I grew up drawing the Ghostbusters and crayons and stuff. I was a huge Ghostbusters kid. That's probably why I ended up drawing a ghost comic and stuff. But yeah, and then Mega Man meets Sonic the Hedgehog in like the early 90s when I was in 5th grade or whatever. And yeah, so it grew out from there.
So I gotta ask, as a huge Ghostbusters fan, what do you think about the new Ghostbusters movie coming out?
I am so stoked for Afterlife, and I should have seen it 50 times by now if it wasn't for the damn virus and the world going to shit. So
I know, I've been super stoked about it too. I'm really excited. I never watched the female version because I heard so many bad things and I was kind of on the fence.
Same, yeah.
Because
I'd make a comic about a girl Ghostbuster technically, so I have nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong there. It's just once I saw the trailer, I was like, oh, they don't get it. They didn't even try. You know what I mean? Like,
they were just trying to capitalize on the idea of, oh, let's cater to the audience. His death said balls whizzing past sounds like Russell Sky tonight.
I knew that. Oh, I knew that was a setup. The instant I was saying it, I was like, oh, somebody's gonna grab that.
Yep.
Somebody's gonna grab them balls.
And then Maggie said, I don't like that there's a girl in it. Hey, Wendy, how are you?
Wendy, what's up, girl?
And I totally missed that in the sponsors. Man, I'm fired. That's it. I forgot all about our other sponsor, Naughty Faeries, with Miss Wendy Steen Shaner. Check it out. Sorry, Wendy. I forgot you today. My brain's gone cuckoo.
Wendy, I want to draw a Naughty Faeries cover. This is my pitch. That's all I got. I want to draw one.
Couldn't leave a ball joke hanging. Giggity. I know, Wendy. I'm sorry. My brain's fried. I got like 18 packages in today. So I got home and dealt with, toddler aftermath and got them to bed, and then they were still screaming while I was doing the live. So, it happens. But yeah, so funny backup story for because there's people in here that have never heard the story before. So when Christina Haggerty and Wendy Steen Shaner were on the show last year, we were just like, we kept derailing on to crazy stories. And this is going back to the balls whizzing past story. So it's Rust Explode Studios for a reason. I love to blow stuff up. So, I did pyrotechnics. I took a pyrotechnics class in college with Premier Pyrotechnics. Well, they had done the shot for a graduation party. It was out on this farm, and one of the boxes exploded and all the tubes laid out on the ground. It's like, people don't understand when you say like blue peony. They're like, what is that? It's just the balls that go up, and it's like a blue starburst of color, and that's what they're called, is peony. So I was like, it was shooting out these exploding blue balls. There was cows running through the field, and they were running like, and all these balls were exploding in the field, and like no cows were hurt during this, but it was just comical. And so the very next day, Danny D, one of the audience members, posts a set of balls on my page hanging from a barbed wire fence. Well, then Christina Haggerty takes them and puts this blue glow around them and puts them back on the fence. And so I think I seen Heather in here. Yep, there's Heather. So Heather asked me, or told me that she had somebody that was going to start doing reviews for Comics and More Chaos. So I was like, I got it, it's perfect. Christina had already posted on there. I was like, we'll call it Blue Balls Reviews Comic and Book Talk. And so my name for Blue Balls Reviews is Harry Sachs, and I wear this big ass. Oh man, we have too much fun around here, but nice. Yeah, so that's what's balls whizzing past, and it happens. Only 18 packages. Psh, Now, great. Now they're all ganging up on me. Sounds like Steph. Wendy's Teen Cheater 18. Balls.
Shout out to Heather, by the way, for being just so invaluable during this whole Kickstarter thing, and doing work with Lisa for just getting it promoted. Like every other nanosecond, she's posting it to a group or something like that. So I really appreciate it. That's awesome.
Yeah,
and Heather was like super, like even before like she worked for Lisa, working for me, like was always super cool at the indie comic scene and just posting shit everywhere. So
yeah, Heather is awesome. And I was glad to see you back on Sunday, Heather. I hope to see more of you soon. Hope everything's going good with you.
JT, suck it. Hey, fuck you, buddy.
Yeah, what an asshat. I mean,
hey,
he's this Dustin Poppins guy anyway. Has anybody ever heard of this guy? So you, I was, you started talking about you were playing baseball and you were drawing, dinosaurs in the dirt, and I was like totally waiting for the story to take a curveball where you like just caught a dinger right to the forehead or something. You're gonna be like, "That's how I got this scar."
No, that would have explained a lot, but no.
That would have explained a lot.
I did fall off like one of those ergonomic chairs in the 80s trying to put a VCR into the VCR machine, into the VHS into the VCR, and just fell right off the thing. It collapsed on me and I smashed my head and I got like a bunch of stitches in it or something. I think that happened twice. So there, if we're looking for the injury that caused whatever the hell I am today, that's probably it.
So when did you got into comic books and you love to draw since you were a kid? When did you make the decision like, hey, I'm just gonna write and draw a comic book?
Yeah, I've kind of been doing that for like ever, but just to make my friends laugh, you know what I mean? Like, and that's kind of like my first. I actually had a comic called Sigma 7X that I like drew between 2005 and 2008, like, and it was like a graphic novel, and it was like the Ultimates meets Animal House is the best way I can describe it. And it was based off me and my idiot friends, like my bro friends that, get drunk and do stupid things like in the early 2000s and stuff. So it was kind of like that. It was like us accidentally ingesting a bunch of chemicals thinking they were shots in like like some underground facility and ended up fighting terrorists or something. It was really stupid. And once I was done with that, like, and I had like just like made a few copies and gave them to my friends and stuff, but like once I was done with that, I was like, no, I really want to do like something. I feel like I'm ready now. It was almost like practice, So I came up with Sapphire Spectre in like 2009 and like just made this drawing of this ghost girl that was all blue with a hoodie and she had these two weapons. And I'm like, all right, well, why is she a ghost? And I'm like, how about she can turn into a ghost whenever she wants? Like she can drop dead, become one, and come back to her body. So that was like, that was kind of the genesis of that. And then I made like a graphic novel or two out of it. And like, it was one of them's on Comixology, but like, it didn't really do that much. And then like, I didn't start really diving into the indie comic scene until about 4 or 5 years ago. And then I kind of just like revived the character and just like kind of went for broke on it this time. And I'm going to release those graphic novels eventually in a Kickstarter too, because there's going to be 3 of them. So it's going to be a fucking phone book full of like, it's going to be like the prequel,
So any of that Sigma 7X going to make its way in there?
No.
There was no hesitation behind that at all. You laugh. But one day, like in the JT Molloy Smithsonian Museum, there's going to be a copy of it sitting there on a pedestal and be like his very first book.
Dude, there's jokes in there that would have got me canceled so fast these days, and like I probably rightfully so. Like looking back at it, I'm like, oh man, this is a dumb bro comic. Like I never intended it to be anything big. It was just kind of a joke for my friends, but yeah, it was good practice to get where I am.
So what are some of the artists that you look up to?
Definitely J. Scott Campbell is like number 1 on that list. And I know that's cliche to say these days, but I don't want to sound like a hipster or whatever, but like I did find him very early. Like I had in 1995, there was like a Star Wars magazine like called Star Wars Galaxies or something, or maybe just Star Wars Magazine. And like he had a cover on there. It was for the 25th anniversary of Empire Strikes Back. So it would have been 1995. And it had like his art on there, and it was like a summary of the movie. It like had, and just the way it was colored, the way it was drawn, I'm like, whoa, this is like the coolest art I've ever seen. And it's like a comic booky version of Empire Strikes Back. And then I read about Gen 13, and they said it was like, if you like Generation X and X-Men, try Gen 13. So I went out and got Gen 13, and then was like a huge fan right off the back, and then followed him into Danger Girl, then followed him into Spider-Man, and followed him into Wildsiders, which he never finished, which he should have. Yeah, so I'm a big fan of his. Otherwise, like a lot of the guys that were popular back then, and even some of the ones that like were awesome and under the radar, like Sal Buscema, I loved on Spectacular Spider-Man, and nobody drew a punch like that guy. Like if he was like punch, I still to this day I'm like, all right, somebody's getting hit. I got to go look at some Sal Buscema comics, because like Spectacular 200 where Harry Osborn dies, like there's a page where him and Green Goblin and Spider-Man are beating the living shit out of each other, and it's just whap, and it's always the impact. It never shows the impact. It shows what happens right after. So it's like Goblin going screaming, flying backwards, and Spider-Man's doing a whole, you know what I mean? Like, so that's when I learned, like, oh, you show what happens after the impact. Like, because if you just show the impact, it just looks like a freeze frame of like a guy putting his fist to somebody's face. You know what I mean?
Oh, so, I know what you mean. That yeah. Like for anybody that hasn't seen Loki, this is not a spoiler, but that was my favorite opening in Loki. Was when he takes that hit to the face and he's like at 1/100th of normal time or whatever, and his face is just rippling and he's just like barely moving. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so awesome, because it reminded me of those. It reminded me of those scenes where, you know, a lot of them show the hit to the face, but like you said, it was very rare that you see like the aftermath of that happening. It was just great just to watch that slowly progress across the screen. I even rewound it and watched it again because it was hilarious, and I missed most of it. But you know,
you're Todd McFarlane. You know, I love Spawn, and Greg Capullo back when he was on Spawn too, and so many. John Byrne, love John Byrne, love Man of Steel. Not the movie, the comic. The movie sucks. And yeah, I've got a lot of idols.
So I'm going to show off the Kickstarter a little bit and show off some of the art that you have on there, as well as some of the artists that you have brought on for issue 2. Mm-hmm. Like some Steph Wilson clown. I think I've heard of that guy before.
I've never heard him, but I've heard of him.
Yeah, like I hear he's got circle templates, but like I don't even know what a circle template is.
Yeah, that one's me.
That one's you. And then there we go.
There we go. There's the Steph one.
There's Stefan Papadopoulos. Everybody always asks what Steph is short for, so I just make up Stefan Papadopoulos just because it sounds great.
Steph's hack. Yeah, I've told this story a couple times, but I told him no nips and no camel toe, and he came back with a butt, and I'm like, all right, I didn't say no butt, so we're doing this.
No nips and no camel toe.
I'm not Jimmy Noble. I'm not Totally Rad Comics, even though I love Totally Rad Comics and I have done Naked Clowns for Jim. But my book in itself is more of a harsh PG-13.
No, I get you.
But that one's Ashley Witter. Jesus Christ, that is so cool. I've been she was kind of like a big part of my gateway into the indie comic community and conventions and getting to talk to people and stuff like that, because I worked for Cold War when that was going on, and I love Squarriors, and there's she's so good, so talented, so awesome, such a cool person too. And like she asked me if she could go like full anime on this, and I'm like, oh please, by all means, because this comic has like a tiny chibi version of herself like chasing her and stalking her. So she went like full Sailor Moon. And then David Fott, shout out to him. He's got some medical issues going on right now, and his wife has been posting about it. So hope everything's okay with him. And yeah, I love that one too. He's been doing stuff for Big Dog Inc. for a while now too. And that Love his faces, man. It's so cool. And just like the arch of the hair and everything, like he draws faces and woman expressions like the way I think I'm doing it, but don't quite make it or something. But that's just my self-criticism or whatever. But I just love his stuff.
And Wendy wants to know if she can get book 1 on the Kickstarter.
Yes, you can, or we can do it in exchange, because I definitely want to read some Naughty Fairies too. Ooh, thanks, Wendy. That's an homage to the adolescents. I'm a huge punk rocker. I have been forever now. It's just, why stop now? It's too late. I'm like turning 40 this year, and I've got a mohawk. Why not?
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. You're only as old as you feel, right?
Exactly. That one was fun because I wanted to make it look like you ripped an American cover in half, and there's like a Japanese cover underneath.
Western meets Eastern.
Yep. I'm not even the biggest manga or anime guy. I'm just kind of going a little madcap with this story. That's Harley Quinn SLC, aka Trina Garcia, aka Really Gorgeous One. She's on Twitch. She does video game streaming, Call of Duty, stuff like that. But she's also a huge cosplayer in SL City. I think she lives like somewhere else now. But I've been friends with her for a number of years on Instagram, and we've always been like co-supporters of each other. And so I finally got to do something with her, which is awesome because she nailed the character, and it's so much fun. And I did little touch-ups of like the ghost wispies and stuff like that, but I didn't want to mess with her husband's photography because he nailed the lighting so well. So yeah, it turned out cool. Love those.
Yeah, they turned out really good. They're really awesome. I didn't know you did the wisps as an aftertouch. I thought that was part of the photography. Like when they did the actual touch-ups at the end. I didn't know you did that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I finally got an iPad, and I'm starting to get used to Procreate, and I've been doing some cool stuff with that. So, and speaking of J. Scott Campbell, there's my homage to Amazing Spider-Man 601, and that was fun. Yeah, I just count the punk references too. I have so many record. There's like a Descendants blanket, like all the patches, all the flyers in the background. Like,
that's awesome. And then you got that's great.
Yep. And then I have a cigarette, like making the smoke, kind of where the wispy smoke from the coffee or the steam from the coffee and the original image was pouring off of. I always try to find like cute little ways of homaging something and changing it at the same time. I don't know. JC's going to draw me on my cover backing, and she is awesome. Yes, I am. Shout out to Dustin. He's been doing some cool shit too.
And in case you missed Wendy, she said, "Groovy, let's do that."
Yes.
Yeah, Dustin's been doing some really cool stuff. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, it's awesome. His little workshop he's got going on there with the awesome lighting and the framing and all that cool stuff. It's rad.
I did not want to do that. Apologies. I clicked the wrong button. Whoa! I'm a Spectre. No, I'm just kidding. So that's kind of cool. You drew, this kind of as like a, like you said before, you drew it kind of like, hey, I'm going to draw this. How did she get her power? So how did you develop and come up with her powers?
Yeah, in retrospect, I don't know if I'd have done like the whole her dead family origin if I'd have redone it, but that was kind of where my head was at the time. I was like, all right, well, I need some kind of fucked up backstory or whatever. It started out very dark. Like when I was drawing the first act of the first graphic novel, I like drew. The very first thing I drew was her 18 dead on her floor, bleeding completely out, like just covered in blood. And I was like, all right, so we're diving into the dark territory now, And then like I had like some very depressing dialogue and all that stuff for like those first 10 pages. And then she comes out of it when she wakes up the next day. You see her like open up a window and stick her head out into the Michigan Avenue area she lives off of in Chicago, and like she's like, that's better, and like the sun's beaming in her face and stuff, and I'm showing her smiling ear to ear, And I'm like, all right, so I think I've discovered a tone here. Like I want to have it be very dark and but I don't want to have it be so dark that it's like smothered in darkness, you know? Like I also want her to have a sunny personality. Like if she died and was given a second shot at life, like you think she would kind of view that as a gift, you know what I mean? So that's kind of how I draw, like, from, like, that's how I kind of like implement it into her personality or whatever, is that like she's just somebody who's happy to be still alive, you know what I mean? Like even though she's got a lot of problems, like her family was killed and all that stuff, it was like a couple years ago by the time she starts doing Sapphire Spectre stuff. So like the wound has slightly healed, but otherwise she's trying to look at the bright side of things, you know? So
do you have any other projects that you work on besides Sapphire Spectre?
No.
No.
I'm being kind of, I don't know, like maybe I'll do like a one shot or a mini series someday or something that like with a different character. But I actually am being rather Todd McFarlane about the whole thing, where it's just like, you know how he's into Spawn and that's it, you know, like he's just very myopic and it's just a unilateral career goal. That's kind of how I am about Spectre. I have like a very, very distinct story I'm telling. It is going to go somewhere. And it's like, I've got these prequel graphic novels that I'm going to eventually release. And then like the current series that's going on that is going to go somewhere and have a conclusion. So it's like, I want like 2 phone books by the end of it, where you're able to read the whole thing front to back and get a definite beginning and end. And it might take a couple of years to get there, but it's going to happen. So
do you have like a set like storyline, like you've got your goalpost set up? Do you have like in mind how many issues you want to do for Sapphire Spectre? Or
yeah, it's like probably 15 is what I'm thinking. Depends on how fast I get through them and stuff like that. Maybe like 15 to 25, something like that.
Well, it's understandable.
Yeah. Thank you, Dustin. Yeah. But yeah, there's like little mini stories along the way. Like if you read the first issue and the second issue, you'll be like, oh, okay, like this is kind of one and dones. But then 3 and 4 are going to be like a continuation. And then I've slowly been putting little seeds in there that are going to turn into something bigger, you know, because I love episodic storytelling, but I also love serialized storytelling. I love that like 80s kind of era of comics that like where you could get a complete story and a piece of a story at the same time, as opposed to that Brian Bendis bullshit of like the 2000s where like it's like, oh, Peter Parker got up in the morning and brushed his teeth. That's the end of issue 1. It's like, oh, fuck yourself, dude. Like so I want stuff to happen, you know.
Yeah. So do you like hiding Easter eggs in your stories too, or
all the time? Yeah, like little things that only people who know me might get, or little things that people who know a movie might get, and also things that you're going to pick up as the series goes on, like as if you're paying attention. Yeah. I've got it more planned out than some people might realize. So I don't know.
So do you do commission work? So I mean, like as far as you do the commissions for like the issues, like you can get your own commission on that. But do you do commission work for other people for books? Like if somebody was interested to get a piece done of their character, or do you strictly just do pretty much your own work?
Oh yeah, totally. I've done covers for a few people now. Like I did a cover exchange with Alfred Trujillo. He drew a Spectre cover for issue 1, and Kara was the cosplayer for issue 1. Oh my God, those two have been so helpful too. They have introduced me to so many people and have just been so nice, and like they've been awesome. And then like I drew an art print and a cover for Fire Bitch 2, and yeah, and I've drawn stuff for Jim E. Noble, a couple of totally rad things like a Gremlins homage and some Naked Clown cover. And like, since I don't get to let loose a lot and draw like the X-rated, R-rated stuff, like I was like, all right, you know what? I'm not even going to draw a nice version. I'm only going to draw a naughty version. So like, I'm not going to Photoshop on the bikini afterwards. Just take it as it is, you know? Like that was
take it as it
is. But yeah, no, I definitely am always down to do covers for anybody. And whether it's like paid or exchange or just because I feel like it or something like that. Like I swear to God, like if I'm bored enough, I'll probably end up doing it for free or something if like I like you enough and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I'm just an enthusiastic drawer, you know. So I really don't mind doing covers for like anybody who asks, and also short stories. I probably wouldn't do like a whole issue. I definitely wouldn't do a whole graphic novel, but I definitely would do like 3 to 7 page stories for somebody, you know. And like even Dustin Staub had a story he was pitching to Brian Silverbacks for Kara Prime, and I drew a Kara Prime 5-page story that Dustin wrote, and that is coming out very soon too. That got kickstarted successfully. So yeah, so I love short stories and I love covers, so I'm always down to do either of those.
Oh, I'm excited to get Kara Prime.
Yeah, I'm stoked to see that. I'm stoked to see all the other stories in that too.
Yeah, it's gonna be a cool collaboration.
It's a cool world he's created, you know. I called it like on a cast once, like the MMORPG of indie comics, you know.
Yeah,
just kind of like you sign in and you're in the game world, you know, like he's running the game world.
So what are some of your other hobbies besides drawing and reading comics?
I play video games probably more than I should. Red Dead Online. I'm a Mega Man addict. I play Mega Man 1 through 11 and the X series like on the regular. Like I still beat the Nintendo ones constantly just for fun, but keep my skills sharp or something. But no, other than that, I play guitar, and definitely shout out to my buddies in kickarock.com. That's kickarock.com. If somebody could drop that link, that would be cool. Because we do because my 9 to 5 and what I went to college for and what I grew up doing also besides drawing was video work. So I do motion graphics and video editing as like my 9 to 5, and with my buddies in Kickarock, that would be Tony, Sergio, Bill, and Laura, all awesome people, awesome talented people. Like we do sketch comedy videos, like kind of just like dorky, jokey SNL kind of stuff, you know, like usually kind of a PG-13 vibe, and also do short films. And we have entered for the past decade. We've been entering every year for the 48-hour film project. That's where you get 2 days to make a whole movie, like a 6-minute to 8-minute movie. And we have won 4 times now. We've won Best Film, and that was in Chicago and like twice in Milwaukee, I think. I might get my numbers mixed up, but we have won a lot of awards for like our goofy little movies, and we're getting better all the time. So, and we've even made some local commercials and stuff like that. So for Chicago area stuff. So yeah, I'm always doing video. Like that's my thing too.
And he's asking if that's the correct spelling of it.
Yes, it is. Thank you, Dustin. Yeah, so you can see my mediocre acting, my awesome graphic design, and editing, and yeah, all the rest of the stuff we do on Kickarock. So it's pretty fun. I also write music sometimes. Like I'm a guitar player, so I whenever we need like a dumb little song for our videos or something, I end up writing it, and sometimes I just write music for fun too.
So I gotta ask, you said you were an avid video gamer and you play Mega Man on the NES. Do you actually play it on the NES, or do you play like an emulator?
In the collections. So I
in the collections.
On an emulator or on Switch. Yeah. No, I'm one of those people. You know what's funny is like, oh my God, the classic video game collecting scene is like crazy. Like I never thought. It's kind of like how people said when comics were like going for thousands of dollars in the 80s and 90s and stuff, like, you know, people like our parents' generation were like, oh, we just threw that stuff out. You know what I mean? Like not thinking it would be valuable. It's the same thing with this video stuff.
Games.
Like, yeah, I just threw my Duck Hunt and the rest of it at Funkoland and said, give me $5 so I can buy, you know, crappy, like, I don't know, give me $50 so I can. It's like you traded in all your shit for like $50 or whatever, and that got you like one Sega Genesis game. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then like you traded all that in, or you just lent it to a younger cousin and then they just threw it out or whatever. So it's like nobody kept this stuff. And now I just found out that it was like Mario 64 went for like $1 million or something, like still shrink wrapped in its N64 packaging. I'm like, oh man. I was like, I had Chrono Trigger. I had all this stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
well, and then the question comes to mind. It's like, I wonder if somebody bought that game and like never opened it, or was it just like something that was just left in a warehouse somewhere that just never got sent? Because like, I mean, I'm guilty of it now on the next gen systems. I'll get a game when it comes out, or then I'll be playing that. Well, then Black Friday will roll around and they're like, "Oh, get this new game that just came out that's regularly $60 for $29." I'm like, "Yeah!" And then I'll go buy that game for $29. It sits on the shelf, shrink wrapped for like 6 months, and then like by the time I go to open it, it's down to like $20, and it's like, damn it, they got me again.
Yeah. I've been waiting for something new that's really cool to come out, but I'm just playing the same old stuff until it does.
No, I get you. I think my newest addiction, I haven't played it in a while, is Biomutant.
Biomutant? Never heard of this.
Yeah, I was really excited about it. It had been, I think it was like 2 years ago it was supposed to release. And then, so I got super excited. And then when the release day rolled around, they're like, "Oh, we're pushing it forward until 2020. And we all know nothing happened in 2020. So, like, they just took the time to finesse the game. And, you know, you hear both sides of the fence. Like, people are like, "Oh, this game's terrible, blah, blah, blah. You know, it sucks." But I enjoy it because, like, truly, you don't have to do anything. You can just like roam around and, you know, like I'm the worst person at playing like Borderlands. I'm like freaking ADHD. I'm like, you're supposed to be on this mission. I'm like, "Ooh, what's in this cave over here?" And I start exploring and I get murdered. You know, you're like level 20 and you go in there, there's like a level 55 freaking monster in there, and it just looks at you and you die and you lose all your shit. It's like, damn it. But yeah, I'm terrible. I love the open world games though, where you can just like search around and do whatever you want. And like Witcher, The Witcher's a lot of fun. But that's how Biomutant is. It's totally open world, and you can roam around, and you can choose one, or like you choose like just where you want to be, like a bladed, or you can have guns, or you can choose like a mixture of the two, where you're a blade master and a gun master, but you're not like as good as each other. Right. So that's what I am, because I'm like ADHD. Yeah, I'm like, I'm gonna stab you and I'm gonna shoot you, and you learn like key powers and stuff. So I was super excited about it, and I was my wife got it for me for my birthday. It released late, I think like a month and a half, 2 months ago, but she got it for me for my birthday, and I love it, man. It's awesome.
What's it? What's it for? What system?
It's for PlayStation 4 and Xbox. So I mean, you can get it for either one. I don't know if it's on the Switch or not. I doubt it.
Steph Wilson just said Myst was the best open world for its time. That's some high level trolling.
That's some high level. Although Myst was a lot of fun, man.
We're level 20 trolls that just walked into a level 55 troll in a cave right there for Steph.
Yeah.
Obliterated us. Now I gotta go pick up all my memes that fell from my itinerary all over the floor. Start all over again.
Gone. Deleted. That's hilarious.
I think I had Riven, the sequel to Myst.
Yep.
And I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, what is any of this? Someone out there is gonna always gonna say like, "Oh, I knew what I was doing." You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like, it's just like, "Oh, I knew exactly what the architect was talking about in the second Matrix, like right away." You know what I mean? Like, some kind of badge of like pseudo intellectual pride, and it's just like, dude, come on, like, no. Myst was just a mess. Like, you could never figure out what the hell was going on, and if you did, it's because you must have been stuck in a dimension where time made no sense, where you could just sit there and tinker with it for all eternity.
And that's why Steph's there. That's where the circle template comes in. He's stuck in the circle dimension. It was a mind fuck.
You.
So what other things you like to do? So you said you like to play guitar. So have you ever played in a band before? Or you just kind of record music?
No, I've like practiced with people. I've written some songs with some people, like I had a drummer friend and a bassist friend and stuff like that. We just kind of mess around, but I never played a show. I was always kind of the guy drawing the flyers for the punk bands. You know what I mean? And I still am. Like right here, like even big ones. Like I drew this poster for the Boll Weevils. That was really cool. And they're a super famous Chicago punk band. And just did some cool art for a band that was on Anti-Flag's record label. I don't know if they still are, AF Records, but it's Destruction Made Simple. And they're putting out an EP with Jay from the Suicide Machines pretty soon. And they hit me up because they love my comic art, and they're comic geeks too. And they're like, draw us like the X-Men and like just like this Joe Mad X-Men pose. So I'm still drawing stuff for punk bands after all these years, which is cool too, because that's another subgenre of like commercial art I've always wanted to tap into, was to be the cover artist punk rock guy, you know. So yeah, I was always more behind the scenes with music stuff, like, and as fun as it would be to like just get some buddies together and start a hardcore band, I don't know, it's not on my top 10 list of things to do. So
Sal said you're going to play live for us now.
Yeah. No, I'm not doing that.
No, I'm just kidding. So what? So you're into punk rock. So what is your favorite punk rock band?
Probably Bad Religion.
Bad Religion.
Yeah, and like the Offspring, I'll always have a soft spot for, because they kind of got me my start, you know, in the mid '90s. As everything happened to me when I was 14. You know what I mean? Like 7th and 8th grade, like it was like Green Day and the Offspring broke it huge. And like I was already kind of into alternative rock and just rock in general at the time. And my dad had me into Van Halen and all that stuff. And then like growing up, and then I heard this and I'm like, what the hell is this? And I heard Offspring Smash, and it was like every single song is aggressive and fast and is shouting about how the world is fucked and, you know, all this stuff like gang violence and corrupt politicians and all that stuff. And I'm like, this is amazing. Like every song is awesome. And so that kind of like, ever since Offspring Smash, I was kind of like, I want this forever. You know what I mean? Like I want the really fast galloping drums and like the power chords and the guy yelling about how the world is messed up or whatever. And so it wasn't long after that I got into Descendants and Bad Religion and even poppier 90s stuff like MXPX and stuff that I was into at the time. And yeah, and like I kind of, whereas some people my age like kind of got into the post screamo hardcore kind of thing that was going on at the time, I went backwards. I went to the 80s. I was like, all right, well, I want my Minor Threat and I want my Black Flag and all that stuff, you know. But so by the time I was into college, I was like an 80s punk rocker stuck in the 2000s, you know what I mean? And I still kind of feel like that.
Steph said you peaked at 14.
I think I peaked at 19, but 14 is where I would go back to, because that's when everything was fun. That's when, you know, like everybody, you know, like has like, I just went on a whiny rant about Brian Bendis and his style of writing or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like, you didn't do that when you were 14. That was like, all there was the comics and the hype and this is so cool. You know what I mean? Like I kind of miss that innocence sometimes of like being that age and being into a fandom and not knowing about the shitty parts of fandom or like the behind the scenes fights that the creators would get into or whatever, you know what I mean? Like I and that's kind of where I try to stay sometimes, even though I get kind of mouthy about like the 2 or 3 like creators that I really hate in the mainstream. Like it really comes down to the fact that like when I write and draw comics, I want it to be and feel like it did back then, where it's fun, you know?
Yeah, no, I totally understand. We went to a concert, I don't know, probably 10 years ago, and I can't even think of the name of the band now to save my life, but it's been that kind of a week. I can't even think of the song either, but I really, really wanted to see them. And apparently they had gotten into a huge fight when they got to St. Louis. And they decided, like, right before they were going to go on set that they were, like, going to break up. And, like, they broke up, like, permanently. Like, they've never gotten back together since then. And it's kind of like the same way, like you said, with, you know, with comics. It's like you got all these creators and stuff fighting. And it's like, you know, let's have fun. Let's create together and have a blast doing it. Like Ed said, you know, hashtag inspiration. Let's inspire each other, right, buddy?
Exactly. And that's what, man, it's so cool. Like in the indie scene that we got going on here, like in all these Facebook groups and Instagram groups, and it's not groups on Instagram, but you know what I mean? Like just the whole online and like the streaming and everything. It's so cool. You know what I mean? Because like every once in a while, you know, it's like I'll turn on YouTube or whatever, and I'll see some like comic pundit, if you will, like talk about how the industry's fucked, and you know this sucks, and Kathleen Kennedy is the devil or whatever. And I'm like, I don't care, dude. Like this is what I love. Like is all the creators that go to the cons and all this stuff. Like the ones that don't have an ego, the ones that are awesome, flocking together and just like trading stories, trading comics, trading covers, trading favors, and talking each other up and building each other up. Like that's like to go back to punk for a second. Like that's some like people that were into just regular rock or whatever. It's like Battle of the Bands was a thing. There's no such thing as Battle of the Bands in punk rock because like it's not supposed to be about the competition. It's supposed to be about like the unity and the scene and bringing each other up or whatever, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, like some dramatic spat might break out like in some thing or whatever, but you can avoid it if you're, you know, like if you really love what you're doing and all that stuff. Like it's all about, I don't know, just everybody lifting each other up and getting something really cool happening, you know, like a movement going, you know.
No, I totally agree, man. It's been awesome, you know, meeting. That's what I love about this. And it's like, you know, I've always said, even if people wouldn't come and watch, I enjoy sitting down and talking to you guys, you know, because, you know, it'll still always be here. People can always go back and watch it. And, you know, the cons are great. Cons are really awesome, but you don't get that one-on-one time to ask the questions you want to ask your creators. You can get to ask them what drives them, how they got into comics. You know, you go up to the table and it's like, hey, you know, thanks for, you know, reading my books, or thanks for liking my art. You know, where do you want me to sign? Okay, thanks, next. You know, you got to keep the line moving because, you know, con spaces are expensive and you got to at least try to make your money back for being there, you know, while spreading the word about your stuff. But, you know, I get that, but I love, you know, just chatting with people, sitting down, talking, you know, and finding out what drives them. It's like you can go and read a book, a Marvel and DC, you know, that's great, but you never really get a chance to, you know, get behind and meet the creators. But like, you know, Todd McFarlane, you know, like you said before, you know, how he directs his attention on Spawn and stuff, but he does, you know, all kinds of great stuff. And he goes on and talks to people and he'll hang out and chat with you. He did that video, the what was it called? The Hell I
Like Hell I Will or I Won't or something.
Yeah, like Hell I Will or like Hell I Won't. I can't think of the name of it now, but you know, he did the documentary last year, and you know,
Yeah.
he's all about, you know, helping people out, and you know, he's a really cool, chill dude, and you know,
Totally.
that's how everybody is in here, and you know, like Wendy's great, Ed's a great dude. I don't know if you've ever met Ed before, but Ed's a really good dude with Ed's artworks. You know, Steph. As much as I hate to say it, no, not really. He's a good dude. You know, and like you said, Alfred Trujillo and Karen Nicole, they're great. You know, all of the sponsors of the show, you know, Wendy, uh, Tina, and Rodney with Hazzum Productions, they're all great people. And these people are always willing to help. And yeah, Ed is cool as hell. They're always willing to help. You know, I reached out to Wendy and I said, hey, you know, I want to do these shirts for comic books for kids. And she said, you know, hey, I'd love to do a piece for it, you know. And you know, she was kind enough to donate her time to do pieces for shirts to raise money for kids in hospitals. And it just
That's
blows
so
me
awesome.
away that
Yeah.
people take the time to do that. And I really appreciate each and every one of them, you know. People, I like JT's positive energy right away.
Yay.
Yay. Well, we'll just wait. He's charging up for the blow.
Yeah, right.
But he still peaked at 14. Wait for it. He's gonna drive that one into the ground.
Yep.
But no, the indie scene is great. And yeah, there's a few people that are you know, thanks, Steph. I appreciate that. But you know, there's a few people that bring it down, but you know what? They'll weed themselves out eventually. And my favorite thing is all the people that I've met over 2020 because we all had to do this. I can't wait to meet everybody in person. You know,
I
Steph,
know.
Wendy, like I know a lot of them, like I think CB Zane and Wendy and a couple of, I think Kara and Alfred are all going to C2E2 in December. I'm
Right.
like, I said I wasn't going to go to C2E2 because in the Midwest, wintertime
Do it.
sucks because it's either 90 degrees or it's 15 degrees and, you know, a foot of snow on the ground. But yeah, now I'm going to go just because I want to meet everybody, you know.
For sure. I'll be there. I'm from the Chicago area, so yeah. But
So
I actually met Kara in person. I didn't know her online that much. I met her in person when I worked for Cold War a year and a half ago, right before COVID started at C2E2. And whatchamacallit, she was cosplaying as Lady Death because we were doing like the Lady Death board game or card game, promoting that. And so like right away I was like, oh, this chick is hilarious. Like, you know what I mean? Like she's got a energy that I just fucking love. So I tried to, I don't know. I had like immediately had like, I call it a friend crush. You know what I mean? Like I've had friend crushes on people in my life where it's just like, you're like them and you're just like, all right, like I have a crush on you, not in a romantic way, in a please, we must be friends kind of way. So like I just tried to joke around with her and stuff like that. Like we shared a similar sense of humor and I showed her my art and she fucking loved it. So we were just like, all right, we're going to stay in touch and stuff. And then we did. And then part of me, it was almost just kind of expecting like, hey, like somebody like this, like wouldn't probably remember me or whatever. But it's like, no, like she and Alfred like became like really good friends like overnight and just helped me with everything with my first Kickstarter and told me what to do and what not to do, sat on phone calls with me and stuff. And I'm just like, why are these people so awesome? You know what I mean? Like, you
can
can't
we be friends forever?
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know. I just, it was just so nice to know that people like that existed. And then they started like, they were kind of like my gateway into introducing me to a lot more people in the scene or whatever. Like Alfred said, have you ever talked to Jim Noble? You should talk to this guy. So he and I start messaging, and then right away we are just fucking making off-color jokes and just doing whatever, you know what I mean? Like right away. And I'm like, this guy's awesome too. What the fuck? What's going on here? And then it was like during the whole COVID thing, you know, like I like tripled the amount of like comic book scene friends or whatever and like acquaintances and co-collaborators like within just a few months. And I'm like, this is so cool. Like I just feel so blessed after all these years of just kind of like scribbling on my own and feeling like I almost didn't belong or something. Like there was just something that felt gatekeepery to me about some of the con stuff like when I was growing up. And now I'm kind of on the other side of it. And I'm like, nah, everybody's awesome. And I just had to meet the right people, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah. And the nice thing, you know, Kara, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, look, it's Easy Power Girl. You know, she's a blonde bimbo, but she's not. Kara's a very smart businesswoman. She's a very awesome person, and she knows what she's talking about. And that's what's so great about her. She's always willing to help. You know, you can be like in the middle of the night, you can like, if she's up and you message her, she'll be like, oh, no, you should do this. And, you know, I recommend this. And she, you know, she, like you said, she's a super sweet person. She's really awesome. And she's always willing to help you out. And I love that about her.
Right. Dude, you know what's also hilarious is this is a small thing about Kara that always makes me laugh is that like, there's so many things, but one of them is that she is so sharp with fandom that like because there's a lot of like dude bro comic fans that like think like the girl can't know the trivia, you know what I mean, or whatever. Like they just kind of internalize it that like only the guys can know about certain stuff or whatever. It's just it's nonsense. It's sexism. But like every once in a while I'll see like her on a live feed and then some guy will say like, oh, but you didn't even know her name is that the girl you cosplay, her name is Kara Zor-El or something, and then she's like, listen, motherfucker, you just spelled it Kara Zor-El, and that is Earth 1, but no, Power Girl's from Earth 2, and it's spelled Kara Zor-El with 1 L. You know what I mean? Like she will
obliterate them,
counter mansplain somebody, and it is so fucking funny.
Oh, it is. It's hilarious when she's been on live streams with me, like the trolls to get on, and she'll be like, "You can't even spell. So why don't you go back and learn how to spell, and then come back and try to talk shit to me?" And I'm just like, "Wow."
It's just funny. They're always like trying to like make a chess or a checkers move, and she's already playing chess. You know what I mean? Like it's just funny.
Yeah, for sure. Who's Chuck Pinno? Have you ever heard of that guy?
Yeah, I can't think right now. My mind is blank. I've got like the deer in the headlights. I'm on a live cast kind of thing going on right now.
I was being sarcastic. Of course, we know who Chuck Pinno is. Essence House, Belial, Sean Barber. I don't know. He has a live stream too. It's called something about Steph's my biggest fan or something like that. I'm still waiting for Steph to get his OnlyFans going on. I mean,
yeah, right.
Collect all the covers.
Maybe he can put some art on there too.
I swear the guy never sleeps, man. I mean, he's got a cover on every indie comic ever made. No, just kidding.
Right.
Not really.
No, that's what I put on my Sapphire Spectre 2 image of. I always put like the creator and then under it in parentheses what they worked on, like their little quick resume, and I just put everything under Steph's name.
I mean, we all know Carrie Ann's the brains behind the operation. I mean, she cleans up all the lines that Steph misses, and she makes it pretty for him. So
she murdered it on the colors for that one.
Oh, she did. Cool. She does a great job. Steph does too. No hashtag sleep is for winter. But man, I'm gonna wrap it up. It's been so great having you on here.
Yeah, likewise.
How many Steph Wilson covers are there? Oh my gosh!
I made at least like 2 mini nerd rants, which I've been trying to do more of. You get tired after a while of just like being the nice guy. Like you just kind of want to drop your filter a bit, especially when Facebook is being so censorious lately.
Oh yeah,
it's just like you just want to say fuck like once in a while. Like I don't know.
So I had to ask how many Steph Wilson covers there are in Deadwood. He said there's 145 each.
You should get like a card that you could stamp on. You know what I mean? Like when you've seen every major ballpark in the country or whatever. Like every Steph Wilson card and get like a free Subway sandwich.
And Ed, I can hook you up with some of these black market covers that never reach the indie scene. Just hit me up. I got some really good ones. Like this one here is one of my favorites. Whenever he was getting thank you and I'm sorry balloons for Carrie. He got a little smart on the live stream. And then these lovely Valentine's Day, you make my heart complete, and I'm an heartbreaker.
Steph covers get like stopped at the border to get into the country. Like they have to search your stuff. They're like, "Oh, you got a Steph Wilson cover." It reminds me of like I watch Riff Tracks sometimes. Mission Science Theater, and they were watching The Matrix, and like they're delivering that package to Neo in the beginning, and he's signing for it, and they're like, "You're lucky. Porn like this doesn't usually make it through customs." That's what Steph's covers are gonna be like. Contraband.
Yeah. But thanks so much for being on. I'm going to give you the full screen and give you a chance to tell everyone who you are once again, tell them where they can find you, and I'm going to pop the link in for the Kickstarter and also give that elevator pitch for Sapphire Spectre, if you would, please.
Oh, show. Thank you. I am JT Molloy, and you can see a lot more of my room now. But Sapphire Spectre issue 2 is on Kickstarter. We've got 5 days to go. We're getting pretty close to 10,000, which is pretty awesome. And it's going to be an amazing issue. It's got like a little mini chibi, like Batmite or Mr. and Mrs. Bitlick that's pestering the main character, and it might go somewhere you might not think. So it's going to be dope. Other than that, I draw and I play Red Dead Online and I shoot people. in Red Dead Online. Just in case Zuck is like gonna be.
What did he just say? Get him. So if we see you disappear in the next week, we know what happened. You got zucked, right?
Right.
So thanks
I'm
so
gonna
much
write a
for
song
being
called Zuck Off.
Zuck off. You were going to, or you did write one?
I should.
You should.
I should wrote. I wrote a punk song and recently, and I would totally want to make it about Steph Wilson. Is everybody for me? All for me doing that? Because I might do that. I might add the lyrics, and they're going to be about Steph.
Do it. All right, man. Well, thanks so much for being on here. I'm going to kick you to the back room for a minute and say my goodbyes, and I'll be back in just a second.
Thank you.
Peace. So, guys, thanks so much for being here tonight. Thanks a lot for checking it out. For those of you going back and watching this, I appreciate you as well. Thanks for supporting indie comics, indie creators, artists, people from all walks of life. We've had cooking shows. We've had all kinds of crazy stuff on here. Because that's what it's about, getting on here and chatting with people and finding out what their inspirations are. So, guys, I appreciate you all being here. Please check out the store once again for ZenonAntiTitan.com/shop. Please go pick up a CB4K shirt. The Steph Wilson CB4K shirt will be dropping probably in the next week and a half. I plan to have all the packages shipped out by Friday for the Kickstarter. I'm going to flash it up there. For those of you that don't know what CB4K.org is, it is an organization that sends comic books, pop figures, coloring books, and Pez dispensers to hospitals nationwide. Kids that are going through chemo, kids that are just all kinds of different things, cancer centers, open heart surgeries, all kinds of stuff. And these comic books help give them a little bit of relief. Here's the Steph Wilson CB4K.org t-shirt right here. And each sale of these shirts or any of the apparel that's on the website goes towards helping these kids out and getting money to the organization to be able to ship those comics and those coloring books and stuff to hospitals nationwide. We will be having an art auction coming up on August 6th. I'll be hammering out the details. I'll be live with a couple artists. We'll be drawing pieces and auctioning them off live, and all the money is going towards CB4K, so I'm really excited about that. Please check out Sapphire Spectre 2 on Kickstarter. Show it some love. If you guys can't afford to back it, throw $1 at it. You guys don't know how much $1 really helps out, because it allows everyone that follows you on Kickstarter to see the project that they may have otherwise missed. And if you can't afford to do that, at least please share, because a share is worth its weight in gold. And it really helps us as creators get our projects out there so other people can see it. As always, this has been Rust Explode Studios with projects that'll blow your mind. You guys have a great night and a great week, and you just might see me Saturday. You never know.